Hello everybody, welcome back. If you enjoy this video, please do remember to give it a like. If you didn't know, maybe because you're new to the world of watches, some watches can make tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds, dollars or euros, depending on where you're from. But you have to choose the right watch at the right time, much like you would if you buy shares in a company. Some people in the watch community will actually frown upon people that buy watches for investments, because you should buy the watch for its mechanical beauty and so on and so forth. But you know what I think? I think that's a load of rubbish. If you want to buy a watch to make money off it, then so be it. I mean, people do the same with wine or houses or cars, so why not watches? But which watches are best to invest your money into? And I'm talking about the watches that are guaranteed to give you a return on your investment. In the world of watches, there are three pillars of luxury brands, and they are Rolex, Audemars Piguet, and Patek Phillipe. So I'm gonna cover those three brands. I'll start with Rolex because I believe they have the most models that are great investments. Starting with a classic, one of the most well-known watches, period, the Rolex Submariner. Any steel Rolex Submariner you can buy at retail price is an amazing investment. Brand new, they range from £6,500 all the way up to around £11,000. And yes, I know one of these is bimetal, but I'm still gonna count it. If you bought a Submariner 9 years ago, either brand new or pre-owned, you probably paid £4,500, £5,000 for it. But just look at how much they have appreciated over these 9 years. A standard black Submariner is now going for almost £10,000, and in my eyes, that is a good investment. The next model of Rolex that I would consider you strongly look into as an investment is the Rolex GMT Master 2s. Brand new steel GMT 2s are priced at £7,750. But the pre-owned value is a lot more than that these days, because the demand for these watches has gone up a lot in recent years. This graph may not look impressive, but if you consider that the watch was £7,750 brand new, and then now floating around £15,000, again, it's a good investment, almost double the value. The last model of Rolex is the Rolex Daytona, and to be honest with you, all Daytonas will do well, but for consistency, I'm gonna stick to the steel Daytona models. Steel Daytonas are just as impossible to get hold of as the Submariners and GMTs, but I would say the Daytonas are the best Rolex investment. The reason for that is because, as you can see on the pre-owned market, 4 years ago, these watches were worth 15K, but fast forward to current date, they're now worth around £21,000. But brand new, these watches are £10,500. So if you can go into a store and buy one of these Daytonas brand new, you can literally walk out of the store and double your money just like that. And let me tell you, there aren't many things you can buy and you can walk out of a store and double your money instantly. It's pretty rare. Actually, it's more the opposite that occurs, especially with cars. To summarize, pretty much all sport Rolexes are gonna appreciate, if not hold their value over time. All right, on to the next pillar of the watch acropolis. The second watch brand is Audemars Piguet, or AP. And again, the watch that AP do, which is an amazing investment, is the sports steel watch. You can probably see a trend here. The Royal Oak is AP's most iconic watch, and there is such a high demand for these watches these days. But I personally feel like AP has only become super popular over the last probably 3 or 4 years. Back in 2017, so just 3 years ago, you could buy a steel Royal Oak for £12,000, but now if you wanted to buy one, you'd have to part ways with over double that amount. Why is that, you may be thinking? Well, for me, I put it down to 3 reasons: social media, elite athletes, and rappers, honestly. And now the third pillar, and arguably the most robust and durable pillar, Patek Phillipe. The investment opportunity with Patek will blow your mind. There are 2 models of Patek Phillipe that spring to mind, and the first is the Aquanaut. If you can get your hands on one of these brand new, you're in luck, because you'll pay maybe £15,000, but on the pre-owned market, you can sell it for probably around £35,000. Isn't that just insane? But believe me, it gets even more crazy. The final watch that I want to talk about today is the hottest property in the watch world at the moment, and that is the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5711 in steel. They retail for £23,000, right? Which is a lot of money, it is, but their resale value is just insane. Do you want to know what you could sell one of these Nautiluses for on the pre-owned market? When you look at the rate of growth of this watch over the last 5 years, it's really hard to ignore how good this watch is as an investment item. Now, investing in watches is clearly a good option. However, getting any of these watches that I've just shown you is near on impossible. You just can't buy these watches brand new. Well, you can, but it's very difficult. The reason it's so hard to buy one of these watches brand new is because the demand for the watches far exceeds the amount that the watchmakers produce every year. Yes, you can buy these watches, but you're probably gonna have to do it on the pre-owned market, and you'll just have to pay the price that the pre-owned market demands, and you can't really do it any other way. If you want the watch, you have to pay a premium, and that premium, like I've just shown you, is very expensive. Now, amongst these 3 pillars, there is another pillar. There is a 4th pillar which is starting to build its reputation, and that pillar is Richard Mille. Some would argue that Richard Mille are in the same conversation as Rolex, AP and Patek Phillipe now, because they have done so well over recent years. Some of these watches go for obscene amounts of money. For example, the Rafa Nadal, Johan Blake, Bubba Watson, Pharrell Williams and Kimi Räikkönen. The price tag for a Richard Mille starts at about £100,000 and will go up to 2-3 million. Honestly, ridiculous. And there are many cases where the value of these watches has gone through the roof. So you could say that, yeah, they're great investment watches, but the longer term pre-owned value of these watches is still yet to be determined, because they are still a relatively new brand, or at least they are newly popular. So whether this will continue for Richard Mille, who knows? Okay, I'm gonna sprinkle some of my best advice when it comes to investing in watches. Tip number 1, buy before the watch becomes popular. That way you can sit back and watch the value of the watch go this way. But it's quite difficult to know when a watch is gonna go up in value, so be careful with that. Number 2, buy a watch because you're going to keep it for a long time, i.e. 5 to 10 years, because over time, assets in the watch world will appreciate if you go for one of the brands that I've previously said anyway. And my 3rd and final piece of advice would be, do not buy a watch if you don't have a good idea about what you think the value of that watch will do over the next 3 to 5 years. Don't do it, it's not worth it, because you could lose serious money if you choose the wrong watch. But then again, if you don't care about the value of the watch or what it costs, go for it. Be my guest, buy away and ignore everything I've just said. But what do you guys think? Do you think investing in watches is a good idea? If you do, please let me know in the comments which watches you think are the best investment watches at the moment. If you disagree with me, let me know. I'd like to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, I would appreciate that. And if you're new, please subscribe for more content on this in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.